Hi guys, welcome to lesson 3.7, equivalent fractions or decimals. So we're going to have to find equivalent fractions today. One method is the butterfly method. So I'm going to draw my butterfly wings and multiply. I know 7 times 11 is 77, and 12 times 6 is, 12 times 5 is 60, plus another 12 is 72. 77 is bigger than 72, so I know 11 twelfths is greater than 6 sevenths. We're going to have to use what we know about equivalent fractions to review adding fractions. In this example, I have 1/5 plus 4/15. The denominators are different, so I have to find an equivalent fraction. So I want to make my denominators the same. So in this case, I'm going to rewrite my fractions, 1/5 plus 4/15. Going to draw an extra long answer line. And I'm going to put equal signs because I have to make my equivalent fractions. To do that, I'm going to list my common factors. So for 5 and for 15. So I could start with 5, 10, 15, 20. With 15, I could list 15, 30, 45, 60. I could keep going if I wanted. What I'm looking for is the smallest number that they both have in common. Here I see 15, and here I see 15. So I know my denominator for my equivalent fractions is 15. A shortcut would be to look at the two denominators and think, can I take my smaller number times something to get the bigger number? Oh, well, 5 times 3. That would tell me that the bigger number is our common denominator. Now I'm going to make my equivalent fractions. I'm going to think to myself, okay, 5 times what is 15? 5 times 3. What I do to the bottom, I do to the top. 1 times 3 gives me 3. Down here, I know 15 times 1 is 15. What I do to the bottom, I do to the top. 4 times 1 gives me 4. Now I just add my numerators and I keep the same denominator. I know 3 plus 4 gives me 7, and I just keep that same denominator. My final answer is 7/15. Okay, in order to compare these two decimals, we're going to use a strategy where you draw your decimals first. So, I'm going to put a decimal point, decimal point. I'm going to write my first number, which is 12.45. Then I'm going to write my second number, which is 1.245. So far, I have just written both numbers, keeping my decimal points lined up. I can fill in the blanks with a 0 if I want. So now I'm going to start at the far left-hand side at this place value. And I'm going to see which number is bigger. in this case, the 1 is clearly bigger than the 0. So I can compare these, and right off the bat, I know this decimal is going to be greater. So I'm going to draw my compare sign, eating 12 and 45 hundredths, which is of course bigger than 1 and 245 thousandths. Let's take a look at this example. Sandy has 31.5 feet of ribbon. Carol has 4.26 less than Sandy. How much does Carol have? After reading this problem, I noticed the key words less than. That tells me I need to subtract. So Sandy has 31.5 feet, and Carol has 4.26. I'm lining up my decimal points before I start subtracting. I have some empty spaces. I'm going to fill those in with a 0. Now I just have to subtract. I know 0 can't take away 6, so I'm going to borrow. 10 minus 6 is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. I bring my decimal point straight down. 1 can't take away 4, so I'm going to borrow. 11 minus 4 is 7, and 2 minus 0 is 2. So Carol has 27 and 24 hundredths feet of ribbon. Today, you learned how to find equivalent fractions or decimals.